And I said, still makes me cry every time. And this was written with love and compassion, this next line, and very analyzed as I wrote it before I sent it. Your kind words meant so much to me in a time of unbelievable uncertainty in my life. I don't know if these guys are going to reject me. I don't know if they're going to respond. I don't know if they're going to think I'm some fucking scam artist. I don't know if I could have come back from an abandonment or a rejection from my siblings.
Welcome back to Family Twist. Last time you heard Jeremy's survival story, how he grew up with no safety net, no protection, and no sense of where he came from. But what if the second half of your life holds everything the first half stole from you? In part 2 of our episode, Jeremy goes from being a lifelong secret to a beloved brother, from holding shame to being held by family. This isn't just about DNA. This is about finding love in the place he feared most, the truth. It's brave, it's breathtaking, and it's just the beginning.
I say, listen, I have to do this the right way. This can't be done out of order. I can't do anything as I come out of this DNA closet, so to say, to this family that anyone can say, you should have done it this way, or you're scamming, or whatever the fuck people want to say when somebody comes out and says, hey, we're related. And I said, listen, I have to talk to my father tomorrow. And I found his email on the internet, and they verified it was his email. And I sent him an email message the next day saying, listen, I know it's been a hell of a long time. I'm on Ancestry, and I can see your family, and I'm pretty sure they can see me. Wink, wink. Read between the lines. 20 minutes later, he fucking emails me back. 20 minutes. And I'm like, to my wife, I'm like, you got to read it. I can't read it. You know, I can't read it. And he was like, hey, it's been a long time. And at the end of the email, I said, if you're open to a conversation, I'm happy to have a conversation. I was trying to be very polite and compassionate. And he said, listen, it's been a long time. If you could give me a few days to digest all of this, I'd be happy to have a conversation. And I said, yes, of course. I knew what was happening. I knew he had to start telling his family. I knew it. And I also knew that my siblings were getting pinged about Ancestry and a DNA connection. And I said, it's happening. Like, this is happening.
So your cousins hadn't said anything to him at that point?
I did ask them to please stay quiet. Let me take the lead. I was very grateful that at least they met me and I could connect with blood. It was so much fun. I thanked them profusely. I held their hand. The first time I'm holding someone's hand, that's my family, I kiss them on the cheek goodbye. And it's the first time I'm kissing my blood on the cheek, that night at the dinner. Okay, so it was kind of radio silence. When I sent the email on Wednesday, the night after I had dinner with my cousins. So Sure. Fast forward a few days, and I'm talking to my cousin Kathy, who I'm really bonding with. She's my age. We look almost like twins. I love it. I'm connecting with her, and she's helping me just get through all the emotions, the roller coaster of emotions. We're bonding really quickly. It's beautiful. And so what I'm told by my siblings is that Thursday, so January 16th, so 13th, 14th. So the 13th, I got pinged by my cousin on DNA. The 14th, we had dinner. 15th, radio silence. 16th, I'm told that my siblings get and see their email from Ancestry. And they're doing what they're doing behind the scenes. I obviously figured this out later. And then Monday, I get an email from them over Ancestry, or the message. Now listen, January 16th is what they call my gotcha day. My siblings call that. It's when they got me. Like when you get I guess you say it about dogs and stuff, but I love my fucking gotcha day. I can't tell you how lovely my gotcha day is. And I get an email from them on Monday. I needed my wife there. And I get a ping over Ancestry. I'm trying to do work, but nothing's getting done, ever since the first reach out from my cousin. And I must have spent at least 20 minutes reading it to myself, every fucking word, rereading it, trying to understand, reading between the lines. What does this word mean? What does that word mean? And I go down to my wife, to her office downstairs, and I drop to the floor. And she thought someone died. I'm holding the phone up, and I said, they reached out to me, and they used words like, we discovered we have a brother. They didn't say half brother. They said brother. And they said we're close as siblings. Like they don't fucking hate each other, They talk and they love each other. And they use words like, we'll all figure this out together, all of us, all four of us. And that's why I dropped to the floor, My wife's reading it going, Jesus Christ, I thought someone died. And maybe someone did die, maybe someone like that, maybe a bit of that little kid who felt like he was put on this earth for no fucking reason, but just to be alone and abused. Maybe he started kind of dying a bit, or shedding whatever weight he had. And the letter to me was beautiful. The words that they used meant so much to me. And they always joke about this. I responded like in an hour and a half later. And of course, I was writing my response with my wife and analyzing every word. And I say, hi, John, my middle brother, who sent me the ancestry message, but it was written by all of my siblings. Sorry for the delayed response, I said. They laughed because it was only like 90 minutes, but to me, it was like 50 years. I mean,
Yep.
I'm 50 at this time when this is all going down, or I'm about to turn 50, So they always joke with me about that. I say, as you can imagine, this has been a roller coaster ride of emotions. And then I put in parentheses for all of us because I want to be compassionate to what they're going through. And I said, still makes me cry every time. And this was written with love and compassion, this next line, and very analyzed as I wrote it before I sent it. Your kind words meant so much to me in a time of unbelievable uncertainty in my life. I don't know if these guys are going to reject me. I don't know if they're going to respond. I don't know if they're going to think I'm some fucking scam artist. I don't know if I could have come back from an abandonment or a rejection from my siblings. I don't think it would have been hard, really hard to come back from that. No blood wants me.
Mm-hmm.
And they want me, they want me. And I said, listen, out of respect for our father, I want to have a conversation with him very soon because I'm still trying to do this in the right way. And I think I'm getting the timeline wrong, but so I think the next day I talked to our father for the first time. He wasn't nice. He was cold. I mean, he was business nice, but he was cold. He's a businessman. And, I had my script in my head. I had analyzed it for a long time now, what I was going to say to him. I was just going to get to the point. He said, why now? And, I said something like, because I discovered I had siblings. I didn't say shit like, ooh, I found you, and ooh, you're really successful, and I'm broke. I said, I found my siblings, And he said, stupid fucking shit. Like, I thought you would have reached out in your 20s.
Wow.
Who the fuck says that to someone they put on this earth?
That's ridiculous.
It's that generation, man. That generation just doesn't fucking get it.
I agree.
And I said to him, I'm the kid. I'm the kid. Why should I reach out to you? You decided to put me on this earth. Am I not enough that you can't find me or talk to me? Am I just some fucking thing that happened and, get rid of it? I'm the kid. I stood up for myself there a little bit. I was proud. He still didn't fucking get it, though.
No.
And I said, listen, I don't want anything from you. I have siblings and I dreamed about them all my life. And I got into some of the abuse. And I do believe he was shocked. I don't believe he knew about it, because the quicker he got my mother out of my life with all her toxicity, the better. For him. I get it. I mean, she was toxic. Is still toxic. I'm assuming she still lives, even though I haven't talked to her in 38 some odd years. So he took an easy way out. My siblings will say the same thing. He took the easy way out. And I told him about all the abuse, and I know he was shocked. And I believe him when he said he didn't know. It was a short call. I hated his business-like demeanor, his no emotion. But it is what it is. He's an old man,
Yeah.
So go ahead. Let me take a breath.
Yeah. You and I, of course, I'm an adoptee, and my situation was pretty different, but the similarity that you and I have is that it sounds like we're as excited to find siblings as I was. It's wonderful to find my dad, and my dad has been much more receptive than yours, but still not what I wanted, still not what I expected, because my dad is the least inquisitive person you've ever could even imagine. And
are you sure we don't have the same father?
like, I feel when I throw things, lob him lots of innuendo to try to get him involved, it's just not going to happen. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I have 6 half siblings, and I have I've connected with 5 of them. Now I'm probably only close to 2 of them, but that's okay. To your point, having that blood connection is what is so amazing and cool, and I would never trade for any reason. And I have gotten to meet my 5 cousins, 3 from my dad's side and 2 from my mom's side, and they've all been lovely. So I can definitely feel you talking about that, because even if I'm never any closer to 4 of my half siblings, I still have the 2 and my nieces and nephews.
Kendall, when I discovered my siblings and we started reaching out to each other, me in my position, who never bonded with anyone in my family at a crucial time in my childhood when I needed it, I wanted to charm you before you reject me. So I'm 10,000 miles an hour. It's an attachment wound, right? So I need to connect ASAP. And then, of course, that usually ends in disaster because you're going too fast and the other person doesn't, you're intense. And so it took a while as I got to know my siblings and they got to know me to figure out how to connect. And, one of the biggest things I learned in therapy is that everyone has their own process and their own speed at which they process all of this. So, like, for example, I didn't meet my father for 18 months after this started because he immediately went into therapy because he was guilty about the abuse that happened. And I'm glad he's guilty. Nobody else was fucking guilty in my life,
I agree with you.
Yeah. And he had to prepare to meet me. He took the easy way out, and it was traumatic for the child that was me, and I'm glad he had guilt. Guilt helps us grow. And so, I first met him and it was really hard. And we would have, every few months dinners because he would come back and forth from where he was living in the winter back to Baltimore. I cried every single time in this restaurant. He's like, what do you want? He didn't say it like that, but almost like, what do you want from me? And I said, I just want one parent. I want someone to say that they're proud of me. I want someone to put my kid's graduation picture up on their fridge We had one lunch after we were getting to know each other. He makes good strides. They're baby steps. I wish they were bigger leaps. But one lunch he said over and over again, I'm not going to abandon you. And he had to say it like 18 times because of the first time. And then finally it sinks in. And he said, you have to, I want you to believe me, you know. Now listen, he hasn't abandoned me. I mean, he has a relationship with arm's length because his new wife is traumatized by all of this too. And I'm the secret that came out of the closet. And she doesn't want their new world to know about her husband's behavior in the past. So he has to have a relationship with me at arm's length. It's not fair. But to your point, Kendall, it is what it is. And then you learn to accept it because it's a hell of a lot better than nothing.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
And then you find peace in the fact that this is what he can give. And it's a lot for him to do this and be blessed by it and wake up every day not asking for more, you know, try to be present in what you have. Now, on the flip side, as we round this out, my siblings are fucking angels.
That is wonderful.
They include me in so much. They make me feel like family. They hold ceremonies for me to give me my Hebrew name. We go on vacation. They're proud of my daughters. They give them gifts at birthdays. They do everything for me to make me feel included and not outside the circle. Now I spend 6 months out of the year with my oldest brother in this town, and I spend the other half with my other brother back on the East Coast, and I try to see my sister as much as I can and talk to her as much as I can, and they're all beautiful. I get wisdom from my oldest brother, and I get peace from my middle brother, and I get nurturing because my sister has mothered me in the past to help me deal with our father, and, you know, that's wisdom and peace and nurturing. I didn't grow up with any of that. So they parent me at times, and that child is still there, unfortunately, a lot, but he's growing and knows what love is and knows what love is and knows what connection means. And that's why I say, you know, a DNA story can be a love story. A lot of people get doors slammed in their faces, but if you work hard and you're vulnerable, your vulnerability is a gift. It's hard to be vulnerable. I have to be vulnerable all the time with this family, and it's exhausting wearing your heart on your sleeve that can get slashed and burned and punched. And you got to keep stepping back in the ring because you know this is right and you know you deserve this. And in the end, if everyone's willing and they put down their own trauma and their own issues or work on their own trauma and their own issues, it can be a love story. And mine is continuing to be a love story. My life's changed forever because people chose to believe in me and accept me and connect with me.
So happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a little envious because everybody who listens to the podcast won't be surprised, but I've never spoken to my birth mother. She doesn't want that. And it creates a natural barrier between me and at least two of her other three children. I'm very close to my sister Stephanie, but the other two are governed by my mother. So, it is, but I still wouldn't.
But Kendall, I want to say to you, it's nothing to do with you.
Oh, no.
It is her issue. It's her trauma. You're valuable. You're here. You are seen and heard. And that's what I learned in this, is it their trauma. There's some people in the family that don't want to have anything to do with me, not outside of the siblings. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Not at all. That takes a long time to learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to relearn it.
Every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like I might have been the opposite of you before I met my family. I had never been rejected by anybody. And so I had this inflated, Corey will tell you I still have an inflated ego, but I had this inflated ego where I could never dream that anybody wouldn't want me in their family. So I was very offended by I'd been ostracized. And, I do give my mother some grace because I've never been 15 and been told that I had to give up a baby. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But she is 70 years old. She needs to put her big girl pants on and talk to me.
Yeah. Man the fuck up.
Exactly.
I agree. Well, my heart bleeds for you as well, man.
Yeah.
So I send you all good wishes and good vibes. So
thank you.
I know we got to round this out. So
we do.
Well, I would have said this is not the end of your story, Jeremy. This is definitely a to be continued. And I know all this is still unraveling, but in real time. So when you get closer to getting your book written, we'd love to have you back.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your openness and candor, and not everybody is willing to get emotional, And I think this is definitely an appropriate question for you. So we started recently doing a last question for our guests. So when you're going through it every day, is there a musical artist or a song that you lean on to help feel better?
Oh God, where we don't have enough time. Unfortunately, I lean on songs that are really sad, but I want to recognize the pain in it, and I feel validated by hearing the pain in it. There was a song by this British artist. She wrote a song named Tower Block. Julia Fordham, kind of adult contemporary. And she talks about, her relationships and how she always expected to be leaning on them, and they always faltered for one reason or the other. At the end of the day, she says, I'm the only tower block I can lean on. And I liked it because it validated what I went through, and it validated my strength. It's a sad song, though. So if you look it up, be prepared.
All right. Well, when you're done listening to a sad song, listen to something like At Last by Etta James, because I think if you read those lyrics, that they're talking about you.
Oh, yeah. I will. Yeah. I'm going to listen to it right after this. So thank you.
Cool.
Okay. I got goosebumps running all over my body.
Yeah. So listen, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
These aren't fake fucking tears.
No, we can tell.
I am launching, the brothers and I are doing our own podcast to get through all the detail of every day.
Love
and
that.
Like what that letter was like to write to me, and, and how their mother took it, and how our father, all that. I know there's other people out there that have gone through this, and I want to showcase not only the therapy that I went through and the tools I used in therapy to get through this, to get over feeling abandoned and rejected, and to get over trying not to perform for everyone in every aspect of my life so they'll love me in the second I want them to love me. I think it could be very helpful, and that's what I want my podcast to do, is to put me under a microscope so it helps others and look at my mistakes I made along the way, but the lessons I learned in them. So I'd love to come back. So yeah, let's stay in touch.
There's a moment in this episode, Jeremy on the floor holding his phone, sobbing because someone finally said, "We discovered we have a brother." That moment is why Family Twist exists. Not every DNA discovery ends with rejection. Sometimes, if you're lucky and brave, you find people who choose you. People who show up. Jeremy's siblings didn't just accept him, they embraced him, included him, celebrated him, and that little boy who grew up thinking he didn't matter, he finally gets to believe he does. This story will stay with you, and so does Jeremy. We're honored he chose to share it here. The Family Twist podcast is presented by Savoir Faire Marketing Communications and produced by How the Cow Ate the Cabbage, LLC.